So, hello everyone. So, in this video, I will be taking you through an end-to-end demo of our consent management application. So, before we jump into the application, let me give you an overview of consent management and excuse me, and what are the key components of consent management in our application. So, consent management is a solution which is essential for any organization to comply with the data privacy regulation and manage the user consent effectively and efficiently. So, what are the key components we have in our application? So, the first one is dashboard. In dashboard, we show the charts and cards, basically a graphical representation of all the records, like what are the consents that are initiated, who opted in, who opted out. The second one is consent setup, or under the consent setup module we have three sub modules. The first one is consent type. In consent type we can define how many types of consent are there, and the second one is users. This submodule has all the list of the users, and the third one is email template. So here we defined what are the templates we have for sending email notification. The third module is consent initiate or initiate consent. From this module, we trigger mail to the user, and by clicking on the link on the mail, the user can basically submit their task for submitting the consent. And from my task, the user basically comes from the email and go to the my task and submit their response for the consent. And last but not the least, we have my consent. From here, the user who has filled the consent, he or she can take a look at what are the details he had filled for the consent. So let's jump into the application and show you how our application is working. So this is the dashboard, and as you can see, we have no data here right now. So I'm gonna feed it with live data and show you. Let's take a look at the dashboard. So the first one is total pending consent requests. Like what are the pending requests that has that has been initiated, the total opted out, total opted in, the consent expiring within 30 days, 60 days, and 120 days. And here are some charts that will be filled up the consent initiation. So let's take a look at the consent setup. So under here we have three modules. The first one is consent type. If you click on consent type, you'll be redirected to this page. In consent type, as I said, we can define how many types of consent are going to be there for the system. And the second one is email template, and from email template we are going to define what kind of template we are going to use for sending the notification via email. And the third one is users, and this is where we have all the user tagged with the consent type. So let's get to the first component, which is initiate consent. From here, we are going to send mail to the user, vendor, or employee. So we have three consent type, as you can see, that is defined by the master. And if you click on this, the emails which are tagged again this consent type will appear here, and we can select them to initiate consent. So let me just click on 3 demo user and put a demo date. And in here, in the privacy policy section, we can review what is the policy or privacy policy that is going to get consent for. This is just a demo policy, and if I just click on initiate button, it will send a notification to all these emails, and the task will be task section will be filled with the task. So now the dashboard has some data. So as you can see there, I have selected three emails, so there are three pending requests here. The consent initiated is three here, and total are pending three pending. So if I go into the email, so as you can see, the email is taking quite long. So basically, the email will be sent as this, such as this is an email to inform you that the privacy policy has been updated, and uh, we have the changes to enhance our commitment, and action is required. We the due under the due date, basically the user have to fill their consent, and if I just click on the click here button, I will be redirected to this screen, which is my task. Yes, now the mail has come. So after clicking on the task, basically the task place will be filled with a request for consent. If I just click on this, a model page will pop up, and here we can get an overview of the task, such as how many times ago it was, how much time ago it was initiated, who is the initiated, and this will be the username, basically the priority and the due date. And in this section, the details of the user has to be filled. These are all customizable. Let me put in some dummy data. And same as here, we have the privacy policy for the user to review these things and decide if he or she wants to opt out of this consent or submit the give his or her consent. So we have three options here. Like the first one is save as draft. This is in case the user wants to submit the consent at a later time, or review some things and come back to this section and submit his consent after reviewing all the data. So for this we have this option, this save as draft. The second one is submit consent. By clicking on this button, you're basically giving the consent to the entity that he or she can use. The entity can use the private personal data, and by clicking on opt out consent, the user is basically saying that he's not gonna opt in for this consent, or he's going to opt out of this consent. So for this demo, let me click on submit consent, and if I click on submit consent, it will be submitted and the task will be gone. So in the consent library, yeah, and simultaneously a confirmation mail will be received that you have opted into the privacy policy. This is basically the proof of the user that he or she has successfully opted into the privacy policy. And if you go into the third module, which is consent library, we can see all the details of the consent that has been initiated, like against whom it was initiated, what was his or her email, whether he opted out or not, what is the submission status, what is the due date of the consent, what is the date of the consent given on, what is the expiry date, and also we have a recertify button. This button is used in case the privacy policy has been expired or there is a new change in the privacy policy. For this case, we can just click on the recertify button and it will send the mail to, again send the mail to this particular person. I'm going to show you in a little bit, but first let me just click on here. So as you can see, we can see all the details of the user that he has shared with the task. So if I go into the dashboard, now the dashboard is filled with live data. So as you can see that consent has been submitted. It is showing one, that is me, and the pending one is two. So in my, the last module is my consent, and from here the user can see the details that he had filled for this consent task. Yes, basically this. And let's go to consent library, and this time let's click on recertified, so it will send another mail to me. So reaffirm consent request for updated policy. So in here, this is basically saying that the policy has been updated or anything the template has defined. So by clicking here, it is basically going to again send to the my task, and by clicking on this, after again the user can fill their response, and it will be reflected to the reflected to this chart. So now it has been again gone to the previous phase. Yeah, so this is all for the consent management module we have implemented. Thank you for joining this uh, recording.